Hi, this is a training video for you all to learn a little bit more about poverty and learn where your perspective is as you think about poverty, and to help you as you do your wonderful charitable work so that we can help you understand what's going on and that you can help others understand what's going on in the Wichita community. My name is Barb Andrus, and I am with Breakthrough. All of us, my colleagues, we are with Breakthrough in Wichita, Kansas, and we work with people in poverty, people with mental illness, people with substance abuse problems. So we kind of have a little bit of an expertise on what's going on. So I have lived in poverty in my childhood. I went from middle class into poverty when my father passed away, and then spent my adulthood moving back up into middle class, and that's kind of where I am now. I'd like my colleagues to introduce themselves and tell us where you've been in your life when it comes to poverty, middle class, or wealth.
My name is Richard Patterson, and again, I'm with Breakthrough as well. I was raised in lower middle class and wound up in poverty later on in life.
I'm Dave Williams. I'm also with Breakthrough. I was raised poor, and I'm still poor.
And I am Angie, and I'm with Breakthrough also, and I was raised lower middle class and then became, in poverty later on in life.
So what we want to do is first share with you a framework that we have that's a social economic framework, kind of a big word, but it's a framework that talks about generalizations of people who either live in poverty, middle class, or wealth. And when you understand this framework, it gives you the opportunity to think a little bit differently. So let's talk about poverty at first. When you think of being in poverty, if you've ever been in poverty, what's the thing that pops into your head that you go, wow, I'm just trying to
Survive.
It's a survival kind of thing. And in that survival, you have to depend on relationships of other people around you. They are so very important for your well-being, for your survival, for your kids' survival. And so relationships are a key, and entertainment is a key. Because I don't know if any of you have been in survival mode in short periods of time in your life, you know that you need a break from survival, and entertainment is a key to that. So if you're living in chronic poverty, you have to remember everybody's thinking about survival. Now let's
Paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, paycheck to paycheck, or benefit to benefit. Middle class. A lot of people are in middle class.
Blue collar.
Okay, blue collar and up, even professional people who are in middle class. The mindset with middle class is what?
Achievement.
You want to achieve. You want things to be better. So you're going to work and you're going to enhance your education, school, and you are going to do things that make your life better. And one of the things in middle class we try to do is we try to do better than our folks. Doesn't happen all the time, but we try. And so we are just focused on achievement. So the way we see the world is we'll scan the environment and go, oh, what do I need to do to make this better? That will help me out, that will help others out, and I'll get better, okay? So it's a strategic kind of way of thinking. And then you have wealth. And in wealth, what do you think is the basic thing that drives people who already have resources?
Connections.
Absolutely.
Better connections.
And the connections are financial, political, and what's the last one? Social. So everything is connected, and that's what drives you. So legacy is important, tradition is important, how things look, how you are. You go to the best schools so you can make the best connections. So you can see if you are in one of these groups, which everybody is, you're living by a different set of rules. But nobody's really talked about that before. the hidden rules of class, and that's the quiz that you took before we even started this video. And I hope that you'll talk about it after the video of where you're the most comfortable and things you learned about the other classes as you took that quiz. The other thing I want you to look at is the hidden rules among classes, just handout that we have. Glance at that as we talk to you and let that kind of sink in so that you can go, okay, I'm in wealth, but I really need to learn about the hidden rules of middle class and poverty. Or I'm in poverty, so I need to learn the hidden rules of middle class and wealth. So that's what we need to talk about, because as you go out into and interact with people, be it they are poor or be it that they are wealthy or middle class, that you're going to understand where their basic rules are coming from. So if you don't do this, if you just stay in your perspective, what happens?
Judgmental.
We all judge. How many of you in the audience, how many of you raise your hand, have the spiritual gift of judgment? Just think about that. We do, we judge. We go into a situation and we go, oh man.
And we automatically think one thing, even if that thing is not even,
what are some examples?
Okay.
All wealthy people may be snobs.
Okay, that's an example.
Bunch of hoity-toity.
Right.
or that all people that are poor are slobs.
Yeah.
Oh, criminals for sure.
Oh, and criminals.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And drug addicts.
Yeah.
You didn't get far in life because the apple didn't fall far from the tree.
I've heard that.
That somebody's got a criminal past, maybe got involved with some marijuana, or he's a gangbanger, or maybe he's just lazy.
That's another.
Very
A
good.
lot of people will coin people of poverty lazy.
Yeah.
Like, they're slobs because they're just lazy.
But on the other hand, somebody
could
will
be
look at
working.
someone will look at someone from middle class and go, they work way too hard. I don't want to do that. That's all they do. Work.
That's their whole
crazy.
life.
There's no entertainment, there's no fun, they're just working so that they can have fun in the future. Well, we're thinking about now. So, it's just that perspective that you can have. And when that happens and you judge, then all communication falls apart. Because when you judge, you're going to make yourself better and the other situation worse. So we want to undo that for you all. So we wanted to talk to you about a couple things that will help you as you go out into homes so that you can see things in a different lens. So, first of all, in this whole thing is we don't want you is when you get into a situation where the rules are different, don't be offended or don't be shocked by these new rules. So for example, the issue of language.
Oh, you're going to hear expletives. People use a lot of F-bombs in poverty because it's just the way we talk. It's not an offensive thing to us. It's just communication.
Correct. At work, I don't. I try to present myself a certain way, but if you catch me on the streets or at home, a curse word or two might just come out as I'm talking to a friend. And it has nothing to do with I'm not cursing at them. It's just been my language.
And a perfect example that Angie just said is at work, she doesn't do that. Because at work, the rules are middle class. In all work settings, the rules are middle class. In all educational settings, the rules are middle class. Angie's learned that so that she can survive language-wise in middle class and in poverty and in wealth. So she's learned the rules, and that's what makes a difference in somebody's life. What about language and kids?
You might hear the parents cussing out their kids to pick up their toys or something like that. And it's just the fact that that's our language.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they're trying to be abusive or emotionally disruptive. It's just the way they communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if somebody in poverty would go to a middle class home or a wealthy home and watch how we raise our kids and how that we talk to them. Yeah. So we talk to them and reason with them and give them choices and try to get them to do what we
You're
say.
doing too much talking.
Yeah. So the rules in poverty is you
listen first, you know. Well, don't make me tell you again.
right.
Of course, there might be other words.
You're
going
in survival mode. When you're in survival mode, if somebody tells you to do something, it's for a reason. And it could be for your benefit very quickly. So in poverty, in talking to children, you might be much more gruff and say, do it and do it now, because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
In middle class, it is not that way. Would you like a cookie or would you like a cracker? Would you like, and those are just different. Neither of them can be bad unless they go to the extreme. But there are two ways and two sets of rules. And that's what we're talking about. And you're going to see different sets of rules. So try to understand as you go.
And like in poverty, you might have two choices for dinner.
Yeah, take it or leave it.
So that's very true. And that's very different. What about the messiness of a house?
Okay, again, people in poverty are in survival mode. There will be probably cases of some hoarding because possessions are very, very important. So, let's go to show you might not, when like taking these beds in, the room might not be ready. Like it might not be perfectly clean and easy for you to move a bed in and out. And it's not because they're lazy. It's not because
They're not being disrespectful.
right. It's just what if the parent or parents, are working 2 jobs just to support that family, and so that cleanliness is not the priority.
If you want the priority to be, when you move beds into a house, that the room be all cleaned up and that there would be a space for you to move it in, that has to be said up front. You have to say it to people that we're going to come to your house on Tuesday. We really need to have a space in the bedroom to put a bed, and we need to have a space to get to it.
Right.
Then you're telling them what your rule is so that people understand it. But to assume that somebody would know your rules, that's when
And just automatically have it ready for you. That's
that's
not
not going to happen. That's not going to
And
happen.
still, even if you tell them, there might not be, the room might not be, perfect. And especially if you're taking beds into children's rooms, the children's room usually is the worst part of the house.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Be on the lookout for Legos.
Yeah. 'Cause-
Legos.
Absolutely. The other thing is personal hygiene, be it really good or really bad. People judge that. They judge in poverty. It's just they judge if your nails are done and your hair
How
is
can you
done.
have that done
How can
if
you
you're
have
in
that
poverty?
money? Yes, yeah, you're in poverty. Because you're supposed to be poor and I'm supposed to be helping you. What's the deal? Or if you walk into the house and there is some valuable possessions, like there is a large screen TV. Well, how is that? Why are we giving you a bed when you have a large screen TV?
With a surround system.
Yeah.
How do you know that that's not the one thing they splurged on for their stimulus?
Okay. But why didn't they buy a bed?
Well, because let's be honest, look at my TV. Would you guys like to come over and watch a movie or something? Like, you can't, like,
Yeah. It's a
part of the
entertainment.
building relationships and the
brings the
entertainment.
Yeah, it brings the social aspect back in from all your friends and neighbors.
Yeah. So it fits the logic of that particular rule set. Another thing that you're going to look at is just how people are going to react to you.
Understand you're coming into somebody's sanctuary, their place of peace. And most of the folks in poverty that I know have had to deal with trauma in their lives, be it break-ins, burglaries, domestic violence. And these are underlying issues that you may not be used to dealing to as a middle-class person, but this is the daily norm for these people. And so you coming into their home, you're the stranger. You haven't earned any trust. You can't expect to be respected because you're new here. So acting accordingly is going to be something that's going to be a priority. Safety is a main concern. What you're going to run into in some of these homes is a number of pets. Some of them are going to be very loud. There's no safer, cheaper alarm system than a Chihuahua. But one thing you're going to understand
Or
is
multiple chihuahuas.
there, especially when there's a home with children, there's going to be a lot of cats around. You might see a snake or two. These possessions are there for their emotional stimulation. They're there as, a social mark. I mean, who doesn't love to pet a snake every once in a while? But you're going to deal with an odor in a home that you're not used to dealing with. That's not a problem for the people living there because they're acclimated to it. Try to be gracious. I know it's not going to be easy, but we do appreciate what you're doing.
Yes.
So, and then talking to people, adult to adult, so, and if you're confused about, like, if you get into a house and they're not real clear where they want the bed, you can stop and say, I'm confused. Now, what do you want? Those are adult to adult conversations, but don't go, I don't think we can get a bed in here. This place is too much of a mess.
I thought you were going to be ready for us.
I thought you were going to be ready, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's our in middle class, that's our rules. Our rules are for achievement and to get something done. So, put away your rules and understand the rules of the home that you're going into.
And just, talk to them on an equal level. The one thing that I've encountered is a lot of times I feel as if, because I have tattoos and colored hair, people will talk down to me as if I'm lower than them. Just talk to them as your equal. Like, so, I should. What ideas might you have?
As a colleague, what do you think we should do? So that's really important. So these are kind of the highlights that we thought that would be really good for you to understand. And there's more on these hidden rules of middle class, how people use money, how people use, just all kinds of things. If you want more training, we actually do training on this. I do an anywhere from a 1 hour to an all-day training on bridges out of poverty and how to help people out of poverty and develop those relationships. And this is just a little kind of taste of what that is. So we hope that this was helpful to you. And we just say thank you for trying to help people out and just keep doing the best that you can.
Good luck and be safe.